Hello, hello. Let's do a sound test, ladies and gents. Can you hear me okay? How's it going? How's everyone doing? Quick sound test. Everyone hear me okay? If I look like I've been dragged through a bush backwards, that's because I quite literally have today. Been moving house this week, and it's been pretty crazy. That's why you're seeing the new backdrop behind. Already some questions coming in, which is great. So I'm going to start with a couple of announcements, and then we're going to go into some questions. I'll start with the Patreon questions, and then we'll go into all of your questions. So one thing I've done on this stream is I've done what some of you recommended. What you'll notice is every stream and every video I produce gets better and better, because I'm not like a lot of YouTubers and just don't, take any of your advice. I do actually take your advice and I improve each time. So this time I've added slow mode, so the comments aren't insane and I can actually read your questions, and I should be able to get through them a lot better. Thank you. You look great, Neil. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I do. I look a bit tired because I've only been having a few hours sleep each night, but finally made the move from a big house, like a ridiculously big house, which for me, I thought was my dream house. But then with everything that's going on, I realized that I didn't actually want to be in that house. It was very high risk for me. The only thing I'm going to miss is the lake behind, which you saw on my A Day in the Life video. I'll miss that lake, and I'll miss my home cinema. But other than that, I'm not going to miss anything. I really like this new house. It's a lot smaller and perfect for my wife and I. So let's start with a couple of announcements, and that is that the Discord community, so that's one thing that a lot of you asked me for, was a chat community on Discord, because a lot of you use Discord. I didn't know that. So that is live now. That's been built. We've got a couple hundred people on there already. It is a fantastic community. It's blown away all expectations, actually. I had no idea it'd be that successful and popular. We have all sorts of threads in that community now, from real estate, precious metals, silver and gold, etc., stocks. We're talking about bonds, about business, about controversial topics as well. We don't discuss politics. No Trump and Biden talk in there, thank you, because it is a global community. So it's really great. I'm so glad that we've set that up, because it's going really, really well. If you want to join that, you can only join via Patreon. And by the way, if you're not on the Patreon yet, we've got 210, 11 members, something like that. It starts at $4 a month. So some of you are going to see financial advisors and stock brokers and all this for your advice, when you've got a forum for $4 a month that I've set up for you. Just go over and join. There's different tiers, but that will get you into the forum. Some of the people in there have got decades worth of wisdom. So go in there, learn from all these people. I'm also in there as well, so you can learn directly. So that is the first thing. Secondly is a warning today as well. And it's not a warning about, the crisis I mentioned on last week's video. That video got a lot of heat, including from some other YouTubers. A lot of YouTubers are not liking what I'm saying at the moment, especially some of the big ones. Some of these guys, and this is the warning really. I know that a lot of you like some of these big finance YouTubers, but some of them are giving really, really bad advice right now, like terrible advice, telling you the real estate market's great, keep going in, keep buying into the real estate market. Oh, California is great, buy in California and all this. A lot of these guys are very biased because they own tons of real estate, some of them in California. So why would they say it's going down when they own loads of real estate? They wouldn't. So there's a massive bias there. So just be aware. And also the other bias is get your 2 free stocks, get your free stocks, but all this sort of business. Oh, get your coupon codes, all this sort of stuff. They're selling courses, right? Like real estate trainings and courses. And like I really get on. I'm friends with a lot of these guys, and I really like a lot of these guys. But for my subscribers, I do need to warn you that some of the stuff they're telling you is not right. Like getting into the stock market. Oh yeah, buy Apple, buy Tesla, buy all this. No, don't buy those stocks right now. Like do the opposite of what they're telling you. Like do the opposite of buying real estate in California right now. There's a lot of questions around that, and we'll come on to it in a little while actually, but there are mass exoduses from certain areas right now, and California is one of them. I'm gonna come on to that because there's a question. Okay, some random comments there. Okay, so that is it. Oh, because I keep forgetting on every live stream, please remember to click like on the video, because I'm not going to go on and ask you to do that later on. Right, so there's the announcements out of the way. Let's get straight into the questions. We're going to start with the Patreon questions. As always, if you're not on Patreon, join there. Then you get your question guaranteed answered first. So we're going to start with, I don't know what this guy's name is, but Champagne with a I-A-I. Yeah, so maybe Champ Ian or something. Right. Hi, Neil. I have a question on the UK property market. Do you see the stamp duty exemption being extended beyond March 2021? I'm looking to buy. However, I think it would be foolish to buy before end of October when the furlough scheme ends and we're really going to start to see the employment rates in the UK, unemployment rates. Look forward to your response and love the channel. Cheers, Ian. Okay. So, stamp duty. Okay, so if you don't know what stamp duty is, first and foremost, this is a tax that the UK government and other governments as well put onto the purchase of a house, of a property. Not always a house, it can be like a flat or an apartment, which is different. In the UK, you can buy an apartment. In USA, for example, you rent an apartment. It's a very different thing. So stamp duty, the biggest mistake the government did was they tried to stimulate the housing market with all these schemes, should we say, and stamp duty was one of them, right? So they've done this in order because they knew the housing market might crash. They knew. So they say, what can we come up with? Oh, I know, no tax. So you can buy a house and save tens or 100 grand or whatever, you know, on this, but tens of thousands in tax. So by doing this, what does it do? It does the opposite effect. It's crazy. It's now pushed the prices up in the UK even more because people can afford more. This is just common sense. I don't know why they think this was a good idea. So do I think it will end in after March 2021? Well, here's the thing. If they think, oh, the housing market, it looks like it's shaky, it's going to crash. They've really got two approaches. When they look at it and they think, okay, this is just not going to work. This is just going to crash. Let's just let it go. Or they might say, okay, let's just keep it going a little bit more. Let's extend the stamp duty holiday. So it might happen. I don't know right now. Yeah, I think it's probably 50-50. It could go either way. It is. Some of the people that make these decisions are not experts, right? They're more like, you know, politicians that get put into that job. Oh, you go in that housing job. Oh, but I'm an expert in healthcare. Yeah, don't worry about that. Just go on in that role. We'll sort you out. Oh, okay. That is literally what happens a lot of the time. These people just, they have no idea. So that's that question. Next, Jessica Castillo. Hi, Neil. I'm new in the finance world. I have children to feed and a house. My dream was to buy a house this year, but was outbid 5 times in Houston, Texas. After watching your YouTube, I thought of maybe waiting till prices drop. My question is it smarter to place the money from savings somewhere else until I can afford a house? Okay. Right. This is a really important point because I think a lot of people are watching, say, one of my videos and then going, right, housing crash, that's it. Housing crash everywhere. And you've got to understand that's not what I say. Okay. You have to watch my videos, the sequence of them, video by video. The housing market is extremely, extremely complex, and it's extremely regional as well. So here's the thing. A lot of people are saying that live in like Houston and Dallas and things like that. Oh, I'm waiting for the housing crash that Neil's predicting. You're going to be waiting a long time, because this is what's happening right now. Houston, Dallas, who are the people that are moving into that area? The data's all there. You just need to do the research. San Francisco, it's tech. All of these tech are moving to Houston. They're moving to Dallas. They are just all coming across because San Francisco is imploding. It's imploding and people can't see it. I went there 2 or 3 years ago with my wife, and I won't even tell you some of the shocking things that we saw. Just, I've never seen anything like it. Some of the crime and some of the craziness. Like, you're in a store, someone just walks in, picks something up and walks out, and someone's like, hey, sir, you can't steal that. And he's like, walks out. I've seen people defecating on the street as I'm walking by, like drugs, people doing like the certain places are imploding, right? In San Francisco, you got to think of it. What's going to happen when all of this tech leaves, all the jobs leave? What do you think is going to happen to the housing there? Just take a wild guess. And you've also got other places in California. Where are they moving to? They are moving to Texas. All the data's there. And you probably saw last week on the video, I phoned these moving companies. I started calling some of them. Hey, where people going? How's demand? All this. These guys are telling me they're taking everyone. U-Haul, that's another one. It's all going to Texas from California. So many of my friends are leaving California. You know, big businesses there. They're leaving. They're going to other places like Texas. So what do I think is going to happen? I think the reason you've been outbid 5 times in Houston is because it's going to keep going like that. And even if there's a housing crash in certain areas of let's say, Texas, I can't see it happening in Houston and Dallas, really, because all this money is just going to keep coming in from the tech guys. Some of these guys are earning $1 million salaries, you know? They've got plenty of money to play with. Okay, so that answers that question. Next question is Filiberto Di Aniello. Okay, he's asked like loads of questions, so I'm just going to focus on one. What areas to buy in London for the next 3 years? So one thing to understand is that London is not like predicting a city of, say, 200,000 people, 300,000 people. There are millions of people in London. There are dozens of boroughs. Each borough is different. You've got like Chelsea and Kensington, which are the super wealthy of the world, live there. The elite, the 0.1% live there. I have a friend that lives there, and it's just crazy. His lifestyle is insane. I've never seen anything like it. He'll take me to the Rolls-Royce dealership, the yacht dealership, and all this, introducing me to people, you know, oh, come and have a look at this car. Oh, what's it? Come and sit in the car and come and look at this yacht and all that. It's another world there, right? So price is there. You're probably not going to see much of a drop. But you go to other areas, you've got to look at, again, jobs. Are there jobs coming in? Are there jobs going out? Is there high immigration? Things like that. I'll give you an example this week, actually. Talking about immigration. I don't really like to talk about immigration because people then, some people misunderstand, right? They might think I'm anti-immigration or things like that. But just this week, I was, see, you can see I'm being political now. I'm trying to say this politely. I was with my wife. We were in the city and we were just doing our business, and we just saw dozens, like hundreds of men that were sort of, I don't know exactly where they were from, but they weren't from UK or Europe, were just like in the street causing tons of trouble, throwing stuff, throwing bottles, shouting. I was with my wife, they're like being inappropriate, if you get what I'm saying, right? And I said to my wife, I'm never going to this area again, ever. There's graffiti sprayed everywhere, and I didn't see a single child. I didn't see a single woman. It was like this group of men was like, I don't even know how many, maybe just as a guess, like 60 or 70, just as a guess, right? So you're having all this immigration as well in certain areas, and the data's there, okay? I'm not being anti-immigration like I'm saying. The data's there. It pushes down the house prices. Like the area I just moved from, the house next door, there must have been like, well, not next door, a few doors down, there must have been like 40 people in there. And it was just not a nice place to live. So again, we move out, other people move out. And these are all things you have to bear in mind. And again, I'm being political there. I'm being polite in saying that. But there's a lot of things you have to bear in mind in an area, okay? And that's the politest way I can say all of that. So the thing with London and the boroughs is you're going to have some areas that are going to boom, where they're getting good transport links. You're going to have other areas where you have got all of this stuff going on and they may not do as well. And London is a bubble anyway. It's a hyper bubble. The price per earning ratio, so the PE ratio, I'm not talking about stocks PE ratio, but on housing, the housing PE ratio is insane in London. It's so high. It's like Vancouver, Canada or something. It's so high that there's only one way it can eventually go once all this craziness and bailouts and everything else is going on. People are leaving the big cities. They just don't want to be there anymore. The banking sector in London as well is starting to move. I have, let's just say, friends or colleagues who are in big banks. I have a mentoring client who is very senior, just below CEO of a big bank. And the things that telling me is like crazy. You wouldn't even think all this, but a lot of the big banks, they're leaving. One guy was telling me it's £1,000 a day for a desk in his firm. That's how much it cost him. And he's like, why would I do that when I can hire better people, pay them more, and still save a lot of money? So these are things to bear in mind. Okay, next one. Alison Walker. Thanks, Neil. I'd like to know your thoughts on hot destination real estate markets. Oh, okay. And Alison's actually saying big companies are moving in droves like Dallas or Austin. So that's interesting because I was just talking about that. So yeah, I think I've already covered that without having to answer that, Alison, because I've already covered that question. Chris Doody. Hi, Neil. I know you're a long-term investor, but what are some options if one wants to take an aggressive position in the face of a stock market crash? Okay, remember what I say I always have on my desk? The Intelligent Investor, Ben Graham, almost never leaves my desk. And I think for all of you, again, I've got no affiliation with, this publisher or anything like that. I have no affiliation with anything that I recommend to you guys. When I recommend real estate stuff, when I recommend stocks, there's no grab your coupons below, grab your discount links and blah. There's none of that. Everything is completely unbiased. I'm just giving you my recommendations. So I would definitely read that book. Everyone needs to read it. And then there's other books like what we got. We got Security Analysis. That's Graham and Dodd as well there. Books like that, they will really get you going. They'll stop you from making mistakes. A lot of these books, actually, these are capital finance based books. Some of them are not, but we've got like Strauss and Howe there, Generations. That's all to do with like, if you've heard some of the videos at the minute on the fourth turning. I was about to make the video, but someone else made it, so I didn't release that video. There's some really good like fantastic finance books for you to read. But let me just get into the nitty-gritty of the question. So would I take an aggressive position in the face of a stock market crash? The answer to that, I think what you're referring to is short selling, so selling a stock short. 100% no, I would never do that. I think it's extremely risky. I think it is gambling. If Benjamin Graham thinks it's gambling and Warren Buffett, then I'm not going to get into it. Okay, so I'd say that. But if you weren't talking about that and I've completely misunderstood the question, I'd say when it crashes, so the stock market crashes, and it will crash, buy. Like buy like a crazy madman, Chris, because that's what I'll be doing. I'll be buying like crazy. 100%, I'll take an aggressive position then. The problem is most people make the mistake, and it's so common sense, but the majority, 99% of people make this mistake. When the stock market crashes, they sell. Like, why are you selling? If you've got a position here and it's worth 100, right? And you see, oh, it's crashed. It's like 1929, 1930s crash. people are getting like down here, they're losing 70%. Oh, let me sell now before it goes even lower. No, why would you, like, it's crazy. Like, that's when you buy. You want to buy at the bottom here. You want to just, when you're seeing all this going down, and buy good companies. You got to watch the PE ratio. People were asking me, why did you sell your Tesla stocks? Why did you sell it? Because I got a 500% ROI, return on investment, on that stock. That's why. Yes, I could have held it for another month, 6 weeks, and I could have made another $200 or whatever it was per share. But I don't invest like that. I see it too risky. As soon as the price per earning ratio goes up, like, let's say 25, then I'm not really interested in that stock or that share. So I do follow Benjamin Graham, probably 95% of his advice, but then there's other times 5% that I won't, such as if I see a stock like going crazy, I will sell it and I will get out. And I actually have, for those of you Patreon members, you'll know, because I make posts every week on what I'm doing, and you can also see all my stocks. You can see all my investments. It's completely open. It's all in the platform. You can see everything I'm buying, everything I'm selling, metals, holdings, business, all of my money, everything. You can see it all there. So you'll know this week I've liquidated. So I'm only holding Amazon right now because I think it's a strong stock. I read all the shareholder things, and that's another thing you should read. You should download and read all the shareholders reports. They're just so fantastic to read, and you'll learn so much from it, especially the Amazon one. Read that. It's just fantastic, and it's free. Just print it off. I have so many, reports and things I keep. This is all free. You just print it off. You keep it. Just make notes on everything. I'm always making notes on all of this stuff. Learn so much from it. Yeah. Free. Just download all this from the internet. Okay, next question is Annie Chow. Oh, here we go. How will PMs, which is precious metals, be converted into the new digital currency, and how soon will this take place? Also, should I save in precious metals if I plan on buying a house within a year or two? Thank you, Neil. Right. So I think you're jumping the gun a little bit with the new digital currency, because I haven't really got to that yet. I've got some videos coming out. I'll be talking about that. But I think you're ahead of the game a little bit with the new digital currency. For those of you who don't know, it's called the Great Reset. You should probably look into a lot of this. The Bank of England, the Fed, Davos 2021. It's quite concerning, a lot of the stuff, but I'll be making a video on it. And this will be an interesting video. People say, Neil's gone crazy. He's talking about, neural implants from, the World Economic Forum talking about. He's gone crazy. This is some of the comments before. And then next thing, oh, what just got released last week by Elon Musk? Oh, neural implants. So there you go. It's funny how people keep saying, Neil's crazy, Neil's crazy. A week later, something happens. Neil's crazy, saying silver's going to go up in exactly 3 months' time. Oh, where's he getting this from? Silver's never going anywhere. It's been down for years. Oh, what happens 3 months' time? Silver spikes. Oh, what a coincidence. Right. So, Annie, I think with buying your house in a year or two, should you hold precious metals or buy for that? No, I don't think so, because you then have to liquidate them, and you're going to probably lose the premium, because you're going to get a premium when you buy. So I personally wouldn't do that. If you want to hold some form of precious metals like that for a short term, maybe a good mining stock, maybe an ETF. I don't like ETFs, but maybe a good mining stock might work quite well for that position if you want to take that position. We'll talk about the new digital currency and the reset at a later date. Richard B, next question. Hi Neil, assuming we're heading towards hyperinflation, it's a big assumption, Richard. Devaluation of the dollar and a burst in the stock and housing market bubbles. What are some key strategies, approaches, or watch outs to prepare or even prosper in the downturn? Thanks. Okay, well, to prosper in the downturn, nothing's changed from what I've been saying for a long time now, and that is precious metals. Okay, silver, gold, but more specifically silver. Silver is what you need. Why do you think I've got a lot of my net worth in silver? Because I bought it dirt cheap when I told all of you guys to buy it. Well, probably I bought it a year before I told a lot of you guys to buy it. And like my silver is up massively. It's ridiculous actually how much it's up by. It's a huge amount. So to prosper would be precious metals, maybe a little bit of crypto. I'm not a crypto guy, as you know, but if you want to prosper, maybe a little bit of crypto. Not all these new cryptos that are coming out. A lot of them are a bit of a gamble, but you know, your normal one, like you know, what have we got, like Bitcoin and XRP and stuff like that, they're probably going to be okay. I doubt they're going to crash, but honestly, I'm not a crypto guy. I don't know. It's not something I invest in. Anyone wants to send me some, I'll gladly take some crypto, but it's not something I invest in. And you know, one thing on that, someone said to me recently, Neil, I made tens of thousands of dollars on the silver you told me to buy. How can I ever repay you? If there was some way. Yeah, there's a PayPal donate button on my channel in the about section. If you feel that desperate you want to repay me, feel free to make a donation there, or you know, in this super chat or whatever. That, you know, I will gladly accept. But yeah, that's how you prosper. It is precious metals. So what would you avoid? Well, that would be maybe a heavy stock portfolio. And I'm not saying a bond portfolio, because bonds are dead right now. There's not really anything you can do in the bond market. I'm trying to advise people against this. So many people are buying bonds. I'm saying, why would you buy bonds when the percentage rate return is going to be like miles lower than inflation? Why would you just let your money get eaten away? And that doesn't even include the devaluation by a quantitative easing that's going on right now. So I don't know. I can only advise, but people don't seem to listen. So yeah, that's what I'd avoid. Heavy stock portfolio, heavy bond portfolio, heavy real estate portfolio, maybe just a little bit of both, a small amount, but it's not really for me. I'm in cash and I'm in silver. I've got a tiny bit of gold, tiny bit of crypto, but mine is cash and silver. And the only reason I'm in cash, I think it's like, don't do what I'm doing right now. You know, the only reason I'm in cash is because I've got so much silver that it's ridiculous. I won't even tell you guys how much silver I've got. It's insane. There's only so much I can really have. And I'm worried, right? I'm worried that if I have way more silver, that it might get confiscated. If you're the government and you want to start taking gold or silver, are you going to go, oh, knock, door to door? Hello, Mr. Jones. I hear you've got 5 ounces of silver there. No, of course you're not going to do that. You're going to go, right, this Neil McCoy-Ward guy, he's a big fish. He's got loads of silver vaulted. That's who you're going to go and see. You're going to go and see someone like me. So that's why I'm concerned about it. But there isn't a lot I can do, to be honest. Just got to liquidate when I see the stocks and housing market crash, and then buy into those things. So that's what I'm doing. Holding cash, I don't think is a good idea, even in your bank account. If you're holding cash, you've just got to be aware every time they print, and they're not even printing now. They're just typing in digits. 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, right? This is what's happening. Every time they do that, and again, we've got MMT, modern monetary theory, which says quantitative easing doesn't create inflation. And it's not actually, there's some truth in it, but it's not actually true. The inflation always goes somewhere, even if you don't see it, it does go somewhere. But when you are doubling the monetary supply and things like that, believe me, you're going to see inflation, you're going to see higher prices, and you're going to see a decrease in the purchasing power of your currency. Okay. So Richard B, hi Neil, assuming we're heading, oh yeah, sorry, we've already covered this one. Yeah. All right, good. So I think we've covered that, Richard. I'm just going to take a few questions from you guys, and then I'm going to go back onto the Patreon questions here. So Let's see what we've got. Okay, we've got someone saying government will confiscate gold and silver, no question about it. Trade it for real estate or other cash flowing assets. Okay. What do I think of the Canadian housing market? I think the Canadian housing market is insane. If you haven't seen my video that I did on it, it was, you know, some chief economist of whatever real estate housing market association. I can't even remember. I do so many videos, I can't remember who it was. Oh yeah, it was Sean, that's it. And that was just crazy. It was just crazy talk. Oh yeah, this is booming, the housing market, get in. And do you remember Barbara Corcoran as well in New York? I did that reaction video. People are saying, Neil, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Barbara Corcoran, how dare you challenge what she says? She's saying there's going to be a boom in New York. Get your bids in now. That was her line. Get your bids in now. That was exactly, go and check it. I'm not making this up. Go and check exactly what she said. You can fact check all of this. And I said, no, don't get your bids in now. Get out. Sell your stuff in New York. Get out of New York. Oh, Neil doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, what happens a little bit later on? New York implodes. Look at the prices. And this is just the start, by the way. Yeah, Toronto real estate is up 20% this month. Yeah. The Canadian housing market is a hyper bubble. And one of the problems you've got, and again, I don't like keep talking about immigration, but because people start labeling me as, oh, he's so right wing and whatever, which like, I'm not like a far right wing extremist or anything like that, but you've got to be careful with immigration, right? Which book was I reading this week? This one, The Decline of the Roman Empire. Read this stuff. This stuff isn't taught in schools. It used to be. They took it out of the curriculum. If you look at what happened in the Roman Empire, what caused the decline, again, I don't want to go into it too much, but there was a lot of it was immigration that happened. When you have too much, I'm not saying immigration in general, I'm saying too much, like just like anybody can come in, anybody can buy housing and stuff like that. You do have these problems. Why do you think London is a hyper bubble? Because they let anyone buy housing and real estate in London. Anyone from around the world can buy it. So what do? They bring in all their money, and a lot of it's illegal money as well. It's money laundering, and they buy all this property and they're empty. By the way, if you don't know, I am an agent. I own several agencies, real estate agencies, management, investments. We do refurbishments. We do all sorts of stuff, right? We go to these places. They're empty. These luxury blocks, they're empty. They're like Russian money, money from, you know, how can I put it? Dubai and the Middle East, China, Hong Kong. This is a lot of the money in these areas. And I'm not saying these countries, these people are doing it illegally. I'm saying there is some illegal money going in. Like when it's cash sales and it's, anyway, I'm not gonna go into it too much for this. Yeah, I'm not going to answer these. There's a controversial question here. I'm not going to answer that because I'll get my videos taken down. I have to be really careful because a lot of people that I like to follow, some of their channels have been deleted. Others get all their videos taken down. So I've got to be careful with a lot of stuff that I say. Okay, yeah, let's see. What questions have we got? How was your run this morning? Chris, I didn't go running this morning, mate. I was dead to the world this morning. I was absolutely exhausted. Got up, did a little bit of reading, got my area here set up a little bit, and yeah, that was it today. Right. I'll be running again from Monday though, once I've recovered from this hectic move. It took 4 days to plan this move and 3 days to execute it. So you can get an idea of the scale of this. Okay, RH, quite active on Patreon, this guy. So what are your thoughts on the saying time in the market beats timing the market? I know you don't invest heavily in stocks, but this could be said about any market or real estate. So let me just correct this, because I do invest in stocks. I do invest in real estate and things like that. The reason I've liquidated is because I don't believe in the market right now. I think all this stimulus, all this money isn't going to the people, okay? Don't be fooled by this. It's not going to the people. It's all going into the stock market. It's going into the housing market. People are getting scared. They're seeing house prices going up and up and up and up, just like in 2005 and 6 and 7. And they're going, I've got to get in now. I'm going to be priced out. That's all that's happening. That's what's happening. So I invest for the long run. I very heavily research and analyze everything I do, and then I make a decision on that. And I make a long-term investment decision. Like silver, I've been buying silver for years. I think I started, don't quote me on this, but 2012, I think, was my first purchase. Might have been 2010. So that was my first purchase of silver. Very, very low cost. And I've just continued to buy it. And yes, I bought real estate. You know, I've been buying real estate in houses since 2005. I bought my first house 2005 in the city of Coventry. And it was crazy. There was something called 100% mortgages from Mortgage Express. And you could just go out like I did and just buy houses, 100% mortgage, no money down. It was ridiculous. It's called Mortgage Express. They're not around anymore. Some of you who are in the UK might have remembered this company, right? It was European. Okay, some comments coming in there. But I follow, again, the intelligent investor. I follow Benjamin Graham. I follow Warren Buffett. I don't follow, one thing though, I don't follow Warren Buffett as much as I used to. So I do like his advice, and I do think he's a wise guy. But some of the stuff, like I've seen in the recent years, like him buying newspapers and him buying the airlines, when he did that, I personally thought to myself, that is a terrible decision. I honestly thought, why is he doing that? He must know something I don't, because I would never have bought those stocks. So he must know something I don't know, him and Charlie Munger. And look what's happened now. It's caused them a lot of problems. They've lost money on a lot of stuff recently. But, you know, Warren's done a complete U-turn. He said, if I ever think about buying airline stocks again, I phone this number and I let them talk me down from being crazy. But he still did it. He also said, I would never buy gold because it doesn't pay me anything every month. So he's talking about a producing and a non-producing asset there. So precious metals are non-producing assets, real estate, stocks, etc. are producing assets. They pay you every month. So he said, I never buy gold. And then what does he do? He does a U-turn and he buys gold. So there's a lot, everything's upside down right now. You got to be very careful. So I'd say that. Right. Why did you choose silver over gold? And that was because of the silver to gold ratio. If you remember the video I put out, which again got a lot of laughs, because I said it's 115 to 1, now's the time to buy. And people said, no, silver's not going anywhere, etc. Gold and silver, they're not going anywhere. And then what happened? Silver went on a massive run, and all of you guys who listened, you made a lot of money. Okay, Russell Saunders, he gets a question in every month like clockwork. Hi, Neil. Thanks for this opportunity to ask our questions. What industries, sectors do you see surviving or even flourishing through the upcoming economic crash? That's a hard one. That is a tough question. Okay. I think any well-run company will do well. However, if they are, say, a manufacturing company, I'm not talking about PPE and masks and respirators and whatever, but just a general manufacturing company, right? I think these companies are going to have problems. Hospitality, cruise liners, airlines, like hotels, anything around hospitality, travel, leisure and tourism. These industries are getting absolutely hammered. And I mean, absolutely decimated right now. Retail is crazy. Like I think I told you guys on the last video a couple of weeks ago, I sold all my hospitality retail. I'm out. I took, yeah, this is how bad it was. I actually took probably a 60-70% lower than it was worth valuation on them, just because I was like, I just want to get rid of these things. I don't want to hold them. And even though they had a really strong valuation last year, I don't care what anyone says, you cannot value a hospitality type of business right now. If you've got, say, a coffee shop or a restaurant, you physically cannot get a valuation on it. No one would give you a valuation because they would put themselves at risk. You could sue them or whatever. So you can't sell them. So I got out. It wasn't the best sort of sale ever, but I really didn't care because I just wanted to get rid of them. To me, they're a liability. Whereas I can focus on all of my real estate business. I can do a little bit more on YouTube. As you know, I do mentoring. So I have 2 days a week, which is just solid mentoring and it's full all the time. You know, I know many of you have done mentoring sessions with me as well. So that's what I figured I could focus more on. But I was happy to get out of that business, and I think they're going to keep going down. So what might do well? Anything that doesn't have physical locations, anything that's heavily software based or systemization based. So if you think of something like a point of sale. So let's use a San Francisco based company, Square point of sale. You might have used them before, where you touch your card, beep, and you pay, you know, like that. A company like that, I think, would probably continue to do well because they don't have expensive overheads and things like that. They sell software. They make tons of fees, like ridiculous amounts of money. And if things got bad for them, they could just relocate. Relocate. They could just go to Austin or Dallas and join their friends. So companies like that, I think, will do well. But anything that's physical, I really do think that you're going to have a big problem ahead. And I do think we're going to have issues. Even though people think I'm wrong, I'm not going to get into arguments with people over this because it's pointless. It's like politics. When I see people arguing over Trump versus Biden, it's pointless. When there's 50-50 split, like you've got a civil war in politics, as it were, in America. And it's a pointless argument when you've got like almost 50-50 arguing. And it's the same thing here. People who think I'm wrong on all the problems next year. No, Neil, it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. Everything's going to go back to normal at the end of the year. No, it's not. Just look at all the videos I made. Look at the data. I've put all the data in there. I've cross-referenced and analyzed it to the 1929 Great Depression, where you think it went like that. Actually, let me do it this way. It went like that, right? This time we've gone like that, and we've come up a little bit, but it's going to be bad. It's going to be really, really bad. We're not coming into this massive recovery like people are saying. It's not going to happen. So, okay. Next question, Robert Buchan, I think that is. Hi, Neil. For the UK, what are your thoughts regarding any investment in this period? I think I've covered a lot of this. Crypto, cash. Okay, so I've covered most of this, Robert. So if you want to get silver and precious metals and stocks, maybe have a blend, maybe get some mining stocks. Look at what are good mining stocks. Again, just look in the chat community. We were talking about mining stocks just this week. There's some really good threads. We've got an FAQ as well. So you should get the answer there on some of the mining stocks. There's some good mining stocks, but also get some physical in your hand as well. Don't just get mining stocks. Make sure you've got some physical. I keep a little bit of physical lying around, like not huge amounts, but I do keep a little bit of physical like that. We got 20 Eagles there, which I don't know, probably not, maybe $800 or something like that. But get some physical. You don't want to hold tons and tons at your house. People debate me on this all the time, but you really don't. You don't want to hold tons at your house. Some people are like, oh, I've got 100 grand's worth at my house in a safe, and it's under the floor, and it's this and that. Yeah, that's a great idea. But let me tell you what I've experienced from going around. Like, some of you, what I used to do as a job, quite a very specialist job, especially in the military. I've seen the worst things you can imagine, right? If you've got a family and you've got all that in your house, and people think, and people know about it, and you have 3 or 4 armed men that break into the house, what do you think they're going to do? Okay, what I'm not even going to say this because it's not nice, but what do you think they're going to do to get you to open that safe and give them the silver? That's what's going to happen. I've seen things like this in similar situations happen a lot. That's what's going to happen. So just be careful. Like for me, if someone breaks in or whatever, I'll be like, yeah, there it is. Like, take it. I've got a little bit here. You take it. I don't care. I don't want someone getting shot over a little bit of silver or something. So just that's the way I do it. I hold my other silver in private vaults in different parts of the world. And people say, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Well, yes and no. I'd rather have it in secure locations. And these are private vaults. They don't answer to the government or anything like that. These are small private vaults. Some of them have been going 100 or 150 years. And people say, oh, well, in a crash, oh, these vaults they won't let you in. That is ridiculous. It is such a ridiculous argument. Like in 2008, when it was a severe crash, guess what? Knock, knock. Can I get my metal, please? Yeah, here we go. So I don't buy into these whole arguments. I have a different approach. I know a lot of you don't agree with that, but that is the way I do it personally. I like to think through all the situations and make a decision, not just listen to some random person and then make a decision. Okay, so Reese Ludlow, I see a lot of added expenses buying and selling physical gold and silver. Given all that, are ETFs worth considering? Might they do well short of a total economic collapse? Also, your thoughts on platinum and palladium. Okay, so as I've talked a lot about ETFs previously, ETFs, I liken it to the game musical chairs. I'm sure you've played that as a kid, most of you, musical chairs. That is what ETFs are like. When there's like, I don't know, and I'm just throwing a number out here, but let's say there's 20 times more metal in the ETFs than exist in the world. What do you think's going on? This is just common sense. You don't need to be a genius to figure this out. What they're going to do is, oh, I need this metal. Oh, what am I going to, you ETF A over there. I need this. Okay, yeah, oh, wait, I need to get it from this. Like, they're all just playing musical chairs. A lot of them have not got this metal, right? It's just that's why it's called paper silver, paper gold. They haven't got it. And even some of these vaults, you saw that I did that, not undercover thing. I don't know how to describe it. Oh, an expose, that's it, of that contract. Someone sent me a contract, and it was a vault in Canada, and it said something about, it was an ETF, but it was backed by physical metal in the vault. So I read the contract because I'm very good at legal stuff. I can read, I read and write contracts almost weekly. So I'm very good at even complex clauses. And I found this really small print that said, if you ever want your physical metal, you can have it delivered. But, and here's the clause, but we need, I don't know what it was, like 10 to 12 weeks in order to do the administration. Hello, 10 to 12 weeks to do administration on metal downstairs in your vault. I think I smell something there. There's something fishy going on. No, they haven't got the metal, even when they say they do. They are, they're going to borrow it from someone else. That's what they're going to do. Okay, so we've got a question here from on the super chat from One Royal Wolf. What will be the turning point to sell physical and reinvest? What would be the most significant sign to offload, and where would we sell? Good question. I'm going to cover that in a minute, actually. I was already going to cover that around the physical. So to finish, Reese, I prefer physical. I don't really like the ETFs, even the mint-backed or the vault-backed ETFs. I prefer the physical. And I give this advice all the time, but people don't listen. You know, another subscriber just bought $1 million worth of gold and in ETFs. I don't think that was a good idea. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Messy. Neil, without being specific, what do you think of London price? Yeah, I think I've covered all of this actually already. London. Yeah, Messy, it's the same question as the other gentleman asked. So I've already covered that. Right. So that is the main Patreon questions covered. Let's see what else we've got. We've got a little bit of time left. Okay. People moving out of California to Idaho. Interesting. Okay, another super chat. Neil, I'm a young entrepreneur and I got into retail in Toronto recently and it is dead. Sorry, Kinjal. Probably a stupid decision. Any advice? Well, the thing is, I don't know your situation specifically and personally, but if you've got a physical location, I'm guessing you took it. So please don't tell me that you gave a personal guarantee in your own name. Please don't tell me that. That's what I don't want to hear from you. Guys, if you ever take on retail or premises and it's a business and you're an entrepreneur, put it in a limited company, right? Get it in a limited company. And if they ask you for a personal guarantee, heck no, thank you. I'm not giving a personal guarantee. I'll give you an extra 2 months rent deposit or whatever. Never give a personal guarantee, because if you have a crash and it lasts like 5 years, you are personally liable. You can't get away from that. You're personally liable. It's connected to you personally. There's no way out. There's no way out at all. So my advice would be, I don't know. I think retail's going down. I don't know what your business is, but if it meets any of the criteria that I spoke about, i.e. it's more digital, it should be okay. But I'm guessing if it's retail, it's not digital. So I wouldn't be in there. I'd be out. But again, I can't give you personal advice on it because I don't know the business. I'd need to study the metrics of it. Pop it in an LLC. Yeah, that's right. Advice for first-time home buyers. Yeah, okay. So first-time home buyers, I would say if you're a first-time home buyer and you're thinking about buying, I mean, it doesn't really matter where you are. I would wait personally. I would give it 6 months. I'd wait until at least spring of next year. Just see what's going on, see what's happening in the market. But you risk, here's the risk that you've got. By waiting, if you want to buy in an area that meets all the criteria that I said at the start of the live stream, you've got a high risk, because if it was somewhere like Dallas where prices are going up, or it's somewhere else where prices are looking to go down, it makes a big difference. So you've just got to be careful about where you invest. But look, you've got to get, if you're a first-time home buyer and you're desperate to buy a house, like me personally, I don't really care about ownership of anything, really. Even my books, you could take my books away from me, I'd be sad. but you know, I really don't care about ownership. I much prefer to rent things or to control assets. Like if you think about my real estate businesses, those businesses, those agencies, they don't own any of the real estate. We make a lot of money, very high profits from management and control, you know? Yeah, you're welcome. No worries, buddy. We make money from the control, the management. And you know what happened? We had some really bad landlords. And I don't mind saying this because they're probably not watching, but we had some really bad landlords in the crash. And I'll tell you how bad they were. We said to them, look, these tenants, they've got difficulty and whatever. Can you take a little bit of a payment break? They're good tenants. I know them. They're definitely going to pay. They're fantastic people. Good jobs. They've just been furloughed for a little bit, and you know this and that's happened. Some of these landlords, they went, Yeah, I've already taken the payment break, but I'm using that for myself because we haven't had a holiday in a couple of years and we want to go to, and I'm like, sorry, what? That is disgraceful. Yeah, I don't want to work with you anymore. So we just got rid of people. We just got rid of a load of landlords because we just didn't want to work with them. They just weren't good people. The question on platinum, palladium wasn't answered. I think it's quite appropriate. Okay, I don't know about platinum and palladium. The problem is, if you want to become an expert in something, you should become an expert in that metal, for example, like silver, like gold. But as soon as you start looking at palladium, platinum, and whatever else, it's like stocks as well. If you start looking at a spread of 500 stocks, there's no way on earth you're going to be able to like track all of that. And for me, I don't really focus on those metals. I focus on silver and gold because I know what happens with silver and gold. I can look back pretty much, decades and decades and decades and decades, and I can see what's happened from the prices, and I can correlate that to recessions, stock market crashes, housing market crashes. All the data's there. I haven't got the data for other metals. So for me, I personally don't go there. Yeah, I've already covered San Francisco Bay area, so that's all been covered. Okay, right. I got a couple more. These people missed the deadline, but I'm going to answer their questions. So a couple of Patreon questions. So Mary, being in Las Vegas and the disaster we're in with more coming, what's the best way to maximize my savings to use for future growth and security? Well, firstly, Mary, Las Vegas, I don't know if you saw the announcement. Again, I track all the news. I track everything. MGM, have you seen their layoffs? When I saw that, I mean, instantly, I swallowed hard. I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe the number of layoffs. That is so high. Those people will own houses or they'll rent houses in Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys saw that article, but you can look it up. I was shocked when I saw that. Las Vegas is always a bubble, and I always say to people, if you're going to buy there, just be really, really careful, because that crashed hard in the last recession. And my wife and I were going to buy a house in Las Vegas. We went and looked at it. We were there. We were back and forth. We went there 2 or 3 times. It's an area called Lake Las Vegas. I don't know if any of you know it, but we didn't know it before we went there. We were told it was a good area, so we went there to have a look. And we didn't buy. I looked at everything and I thought, even though everything's booming, we can get a good deal. It was too risky for me, so I didn't buy into Vegas. So we didn't buy there. And but where we've got a place right now in California is not good either. And right now, by the way, I'm in the UK. This is our house in the UK. A lot of people always say, where do you live? People are confused. Are you in the where are you? We're always in different places. We don't just stick to one country, one place. We're quite diversified for situations like this, So I would say, Mary, silver and gold would be protection for you. Make sure you've got some silver and gold. You don't want to be leaving just cash in the bank, especially with all the crazy plans for next year that are coming out. Okay, Liam Watson. I guess I'm too late. No, I'm going to answer your question, Leo. I was wondering if the government seizes gold from private citizens, would they seize silver too? Okay. Well, this actually happened before, where gold was seized by the government. It's a long, long time ago now, but it was seized a long time ago. I think the government probably would use, and we'll talk about the USA, I think they're probably going to use gold again for a currency, for the next digital currency. And it will be a digital currency. Again, people argue this with me and say, no, they're just going to stick with $1 and whatever else. They're not. They're going to create a digital currency. The Bank of England governor let it slip in it was like a school. I can't remember what it was. He was talking to kids, and when you're talking to kids, you accidentally say things you don't mean to say because they're so young and innocent. Like, you'll let slip things that you shouldn't let slip. So he let slip, oh no, it's actually going to be a digital currency. So he said that. So that's where I'm getting my information from. I don't know where that video went. It got taken down actually, which was a shame. But if anyone finds it, please drop the link on here so other people can see it, because I'd love to watch that video properly. But yeah, that's what he said. He said it's going to be a digital currency, and that's what I think it will be. I don't think we're going to see another normal fiat currency like that. I think, and this is the risk to crypto as well, that I think, why would a government let crypto exist when they have their own digital dollar or something like that? Like, okay, a lot of people are like XRP. Yeah, XRP Bitcoin. If I was going to own any, it would be one of those two. So that's just my thoughts on it anyway. But would they seize silver? Actually, before I talk about would they seize silver, the USA still has the biggest bank gold reserves in the world. They say, we don't know for a fact because it can't be audited, but they say they own the biggest gold reserves in the world. So they would probably back this new digital dollar to the gold reserves that they've got. That's more than likely what's going to happen. Would they go after silver? Maybe. Remember, when you get silver, it's stamped with an amount on it, $5 or whatever it is, right? In fact, what is on it? So this is Canada, $5. What we got here? So a US Eagle is stamped with $1. Oh, that's ironic. The US Eagle is $1 and the Canadian Maple is $5. Anyway, right? So yes, because it's legal tender. That's the thing I always say to people. When you buy the minted silver, it's legal tender. So there's always that risk. They could confiscate the silver, but I don't know. I really don't know if they would. But the USA has got huge gold reserves, and they probably just do another currency and back it to gold. They have to. They have to back it to gold. They have to back it to something. They can't just make it digital again. Right. So where did Neil move from? I moved from another city, like 30, 40 minutes from here. So that's where I've moved from. I'm not saying where I live now. I already get some crazies. I don't anymore. Thank you. So David, last question. Not sure if this question has already been asked, but where do you sell your silver? Okay, brilliant question. I saw on your spreadsheet in Patreon, you're selling for around 30 to 35 British pounds. Where could I go to achieve this price, as the buyback price for most sellers is shocking, bearing in mind I've already paid a premium? Right. Brilliant question, because it's one that not many people ask, but it's a great question. So number one should always be a private sale. You always want to look to do a private sale before you go anywhere else. Number two is you want to buy from places that will buy back from you. So if this mint, for example, sells the metal to you, they usually have some sort of a buyback policy. It's always good to call them and ask where you can sell it back to them. So you won't get the same sort of price because they have to make a profit. But like for me, when I own all these big monster boxes, which is basically 500 ounces or more of silver, you'll get a better price on something like a monster box, right? And that's just the name. I know it sounds a silly name, but that's I think it's 500 Eagles or something like that. So I have monster boxes, right? They'll give you a better premium and stuff like that. So that'll be your second point of call. And honestly, if you haven't got a lot of metal and you just need to shift it really quickly, you get pretty good prices on eBay. I've never sold on eBay personally, but I've had mentoring clients. And actually, I do have mentoring clients now that do sell on eBay from time to time if they just want to liquidate and get rid of some of their metals. I always say to them, don't start selling any of your metals right now, because we haven't seen all the gains yet. There's going to be more gains. And I'm surprised no one's asked me if we're going to see more gains in metals. I'm looking for a safe haven for 80K, Ian Francis. Okay. 80K, I'd probably put some of it in metal, to be honest. Yeah, okay. Some jokes on the thread as well. So they are most of the questions. If you've got some important, like really important questions, get them on now, because we're going to wrap up very shortly. Cryptocurrency. Okay. Okay, most of these questions I've already answered. I think it's people jumping on the stream late. So I think I've answered nearly all of these. So hopefully that was really valuable for you guys. A lot of those questions that I answered, you all had those as well. Please click the like button. Don't forget to click the like button on the video. I always forget to ask on these live, long live streams. So thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. If there's any final questions, then I'll jump on that. But apart from that, thanks so much for being on the live stream. If you want your questions to be answered, you can either use the super chat feature next time, or join Patreon and go into the forum as well. We've got a brilliant forum, and you'll be sure to get your questions answered a lot better. And actually, probably in the next month or 2 months, the live stream will have a Patreon live stream, so you're absolutely certain to get your questions answered. It will just be for Patreon members. It won't just be for YouTube. So that's another thing that will be happening. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, great. Thank you so much for being on the live stream. Take care. Hope you all have a great weekend. All right, bye.